Greetings out there in YouTube land. This is Morris, man. As always, I thank you guys for coming to my channel. Today I'm going to do a video that's entitled Something Interesting. And as you get older, I guess your perceptions get a little sharper, as you get older. Not when you're real old, because then you're declining. But I recently purchased a guitar off of eBay. And what drew me to this guitar was the unique color, because I'm kind of into that very rare color thing right now. So I looked at the ad, and the guy had also embedded a YouTube video, which I think is a brilliant idea to sell your items. And he had a video walking you through the guitar. And he seemed to be a pretty honest guy. And he said that, the guitar's in not really good shape, and I think it's kind of a cheap off-brand, but, the color's pretty cool, and, I'm only selling it for this. So I contacted him and asked him would he, take an even lower offer since, there's going to be some work that needs to be done and investment in this guitar. He said, absolutely, I'm just trying to get rid of it. So we did the transaction. It came, and I'm going to show you the guitar probably tonight or tomorrow. I'm going to do a cover, do some covers with this guitar, and then I'm going to unveil it then. But it came, and I looked at the guitar neck, and the action was terrible on it. It's the highest actions I've ever seen on the guitar since I was a kid. So I mean, it was like I could literally take my finger and stick it up under the bottom of the frets near the pickup because the strings were so high. So I was really kind of, I guess, intrigued, lack of a better word, as far as why is the action so high on this guitar? Because when you are a teenager, you try to do your best to try to get the action down, but it doesn't. You just really don't understand what's actually making the action so high. So I looked at, the neck, and the neck, pretty decent neck. There is no fret scrapings here, which to me is the signs of a decent neck when you don't feel all those metal, fret things going. So, I'm looking at this neck because when I got the guitar, of course, I adjusted the bridge down, and the action was still high. I went into the truss rod, tinkered with that. It was still super high. And I was like, what is actually making these strings so high on this particular guitar? So I brought out my telly to kind of make a comparison, because I'm like, the action on my telly is just magnificent. It came like this, and I can actually even lower it even more down here if I want it lower, but it's good. So I'm asking myself, what is the difference between this neck and situation and this guitar neck and situation? And as I observed closely, I was able to determine quickly what's the culprit. And the culprit is actually not the neck itself, because it's not really bowed or anything, and it feels good. It's this thing. I'm looking at this comparison to that, and this thing is twice as high as that. And this little white piece kind of determines how low these strings will lay on the guitar. So, 20 years ago, I would have never figured this out because I'm not a guitar maker, but it's just kind of common sense now, because I'm looking at the comparison between that white one and this white one. This thing is actually super large. It's huge, so I'm sure there are many steps to making guitars, and they got just about everything right until they got to this. And they just threw this big thing up there, and these strings were super high. So I actually ordered another guitar neck because I thought the guitar is worth it as far as, again, the color. And I'm going to show you guys the guitar probably this evening and when I do a cover with this guitar. But it's this thing. This thing is super tall, and it had the string sticking way up. So, it's just interesting that as you get older, you start to kind of focus in on stuff and say, okay, I think this is the problem. Because, again, years ago when I was a teenager, I used to have guitars and the action was super high, and we tried best to lower, and they wouldn't lower. And the good thing is, the guitars that they make now, even the low-end considered guitars like Jay Tercer, they make them really good. I mean, the necks are good on them, the pickups, the electronics, they don't hum. You don't have any issue with your action so high that you can take your pinky and slide it up under there without even touching the strings. So this is a great time and era to buy a guitar for you young people, because I'm sure most of us old timers can attest to this, that when we started off with Tasco guitars in the 70s, they were awful. The action was so high on them that, you had to literally press the strings down, the grip of a bar chord. Nowadays, you don't. So it doesn't make any sense for people to go out there and still spend $2,000 on guitars, when a $200 guitar or $150 or even $100 guitar will give you the same kind of playing or close to it as that high-end guitar. There's not that huge big of a difference, but other than the price, so that's why, I've just been a spokesman for, and like Earl on the Max Proud channel, don't go out there and spend all your hard-earned money on one guitar, and you can turn around and buy another guitar that's just as good and do just the same things that you wanted to do for less money. But again, marketing is extremely good in this country. They do a good job of leading you to believe that you got to have this high-end guitar. It's amazing that they have marketed people to the point where you see teenagers, and I've seen young folks outside in pajamas. I'm like, what is that about? They on the train in pajamas. They going to the post office in pajamas. I don't even wear pajamas in the house unless I'm sick. And I was sick the last couple of days, and that's why I was in pajamas. But it's just unbelievable as far as the amount of money that we waste in this country because we've been told something that's really not true. And, we want to be cool like the next person and have this same item, whether it's a car or a guitar. And, I stopped that nonsense a long time ago because I got to the point where I started to realize and see things that I wasn't seeing before when I had my near-death experience. It was like I woke up after that. It was like I see things differently, So, again, nowadays, the so-called considered low-end guitars, they're pretty good guitar makers, and they make their guitars very well crafted. But that's the culprit with this particular neck now. It might, it varies from guitar to guitar, but the majority of the low-end or very cheap guitars that were made 20 years ago, the culprit as far as that high action thing is this. It's not so much the neck and it's curved or bent or whatever. It's this thing, because this is responsible for where those strings last as far as action. Of course, you can adjust your action on your saddle or on your bridge and through the truss rod, but this is the main reason why your guitar strings are where they are. So, I just thought I would post this video for people that have been kind of, scratching their head for the last 5 or 10 years saying, why is my string so high? What can I do with the exception of changing the neck to get it down? You can either replace this or just replace the whole guitar to get this, So I just thought I would post this because I thought that you might find this pretty interesting, because I did. For years I couldn't understand why my strings on cheap guitars were so high, because again, on this guitar here, the little, I don't know what they call this white thing, but it's lower. It's smaller and it's lower. So therefore the strings are lower to the fretboard, as opposed to that thing way up there, which pushes the strings up on top of the frets, or have them way up there, So thought that you would find this interesting. So until next time, take care. Thanks for watching.